What's up, gamers and collectors? DGC back with a quick little video. I just finished Alan Wake 2, and I really wanted to give my opinions about this because I had an absolute blast with it. Let's check it out. Alright guys, before I jump into Alan Wake 2, we got to go in the Wayback Machine. So way back in 2009 or 2010 is when the 360 Slim came out. I had my original launch 360, that died. Then I got a core system like a year or two later. And then I eventually used that system to trade in to get the Slim. And the day I got the Slim, whatever like the week or month Alan Wake 1 launched on the 360 is when I got my Slim with Alan Wake. And I just remember getting that game and just being, and I'm not a big horror guy at all. Like, frankly, horror movies freak me the fuck out, and I do not like watching them whatsoever. I love zombie shit, but anything else, vampires, or just like Saw movie. And Saw is not even really scary, but it's just really gory. But like as far as like legit horror movies, like that, like intend on scaring you, I'm not really a fan of watching them. I wouldn't say that they freak me out or keep me up at night, but they definitely, I don't know, they kind of bother me on some level of just like, I guess kind of freaked out by them. But so I'm not really big into that stuff. As far as video games goes, I love zombie games. A lot of my game collection, and then like mainly on PC, I play like a lot of different like zombie type games. So I just love zombie stuff. Alan Wake isn't really per se zombies, nor is it really that scary. They're called the Taken, in case you've never played Alan Wake, the franchise, for that matter. So essentially, Alan Wake himself is a novelist. And it's just a really narrative-driven story about a guy who writes stories in a game, telling you a story about a story that he's writing that becomes a game. Then he goes to this place called Cauldron Lake. And this is the first game, and the second game you go back to the same place. So, long story short, if you haven't played the first one that came out like 14 years ago, you probably should have played it by now. If you haven't, they have a wonderful remaster, which I'm going to play now that I finished the second one. I'm going to play the remaster here in a little bit. Alan Wake 2, I just really wanted to talk about this because I had such a blast with it. For me, and I don't do this often, I'm going to go ahead and say that Alan Wake 2 is a 10 out of 10 game. I waited a long time to get the physical version of it. I did get it for Christmas from my parents, so technically I didn't even pay for it. And it was also on sale from Amazon when they bought it. So it was like $60. Typically, and I don't know why, the PS5 version, at least currently, sells for more than the Xbox version. Not sure why, whatever, but it does. It's the same content on both of them. However, what I can tell you for certain is, from doing some research, I prefer the PlayStation over the Xbox myself. But the PlayStation, for collector's sake, all of the game is actually on the disc for the most part. You can play the full Alan Wake 2 off the disc. And then the one of the DLCs is on the disc, which is the Night Springs DLC. And we're going to talk about all that here in a minute. And then the Lakeshore DLC, which is the big, meaty DLC, and again, we're going to talk about that in a minute, is not actually on the disc, and that downloads for both of them. Now, the Xbox version, and this is something I just learned because of this game, the Xbox One or Xbox Series games are 50 gig max on the Blu-ray. Sony, being that they are the main people that make Blu-rays, this is 100 gigs on their Blu-rays. I did not know that. So that's why most of the game is actually... it's on here, whereas the Xbox is technically the inferior version because it's also the inferior console. Just saying. But I love Alan Wake. Love the first one. Second one was fantastic. So you start out, and this is going to be some minor spoilers here. I'm going to try not to give too many spoilers, but I really want people to support Remedy, for one, because Remedy deserves your support. They are like one of the last few developers that really puts out a product that's worth buying and worth spending the money on. Had I known this was this good of a game, I would not have been shy about spending the $80 of my own money to buy this game because it's that fucking good. So you start out the second game. It pretty much, they like poke fun at the fact that it took them so long to make the second game. Multiple times throughout the story, they're like, and it's been 4 to 13 years, because this technically came out in 23. Physical version came out in 24, and we're now in 25 when I'm recording this. So the in the game, they often reference that Alan Wake himself has been gone, or he himself will say that I've been gone for 13 years under Cauldron Lake in the Dark Place. So in the first game, there's this guy named Strange, which is essentially this evil entity, but then it also like takes over Alan Wake's like physical appearance. And then he's also in the second game. No real spoilers there. That's the main enemy. Now, you play the game. It starts out really, really slow. You don't actually start out as Alan in the game. Now, at first, I was kind of like, what the fuck, guys? Like, how are you going to name it Alan Wake, and then you're not actually Alan Wake in the game? Alright, so you start out as this girl named Saga Anderson. She's an FBI agent. And at first, I assumed that it was going to be a bunch of woke bullshit and this and that. And I can say for certainty, there is zero of that in the game. They just happened to pick a woman character to be in the game, and it doesn't bother me at all. They don't make her overly macho, and they don't make her overly feminine either. She's just kind of like a neutral character. There's no like woke zingers in there at all, because I hate that shit. She's just a good, well-written character. And then her teammate, or her partner rather, FBI partner, is Casey. Now, what's interesting and cool about him is he is Sam Lake, the face. Is obviously his actual face, Sam Lake, but then he's in the game as Casey, but he's also the game of Max Payne 1 and 2, the same face, and then also he is the voice of Max Payne overall in 1, 2, and 3. So when you're playing the game, and he's not actually on the cover here or anything, but when you're playing the game, you hear his voice. Actually, he is on this part, because he plays a major part in this. This is a reverse cover. He plays a major part in it. So I'm jumping all over the place, but like it was just such a good game that I really, really wanted to talk about it and make a video about it. But so his name's Casey, and you will not be able to play the game and not hear Max Payne. I couldn't get it out of my head, but like if anything, it just kind of made me snicker the whole time. And then there are subtle Max Payne references in the game that you have to like be a huge Remedy fan to like pick up on all the different subtle little references of things. So Remedy has done Alan Wake 2, Max Payne 1, 2. I don't think they did 3. 3 was just fully Rockstar, but it was still his voice. And then they did Quantum Break, and then they did Control. The Control girl is in this game, and then I believe Alan Wake. I'm actually getting ready to play Control at some point this year. I think Alan Wake is in the DLC of Control. So it's all in one universe. They're crafting and creating their own cool little universe, which I had no idea was a thing. I've always been intrigued by Control, and I've started it a few times, but I never actually finished it. But this year, I'm gonna play all of them. I've already beaten Quantum Break, and I love that as well. And then I've beaten Alan Wake 1 many times, and I'm going to play the remaster, which I've never played. And I'm excited to play that, because, again, Alan Wake 1 is fantastic. But so Casey's her partner, and when you're first playing the game, again, I played it on the PS5 Pro. I assume it looks, so from base console to base console, the Xbox runs a hair better, 5 to 10 frames better at 60, which is really nice. And then the Pro obviously runs at 60, and then maybe it even goes a hair above. I don't know. I don't know what it looks like on base systems. I assume it looks still pretty good, but on the Pro, it looks fucking phenomenal. I can say that for sure, because that's what I played it on. It looks wonderful. The like the felt on the clothes and shit, you can like really see like the little like, let's say you're wearing like a sweater where it's, you know, like knitted or whatever, you can see the little like fuzz balls like on their clothes and stuff. That's how detailed it is. And then the flora and the fauna of all the little forest area where you start out and you're playing as Saga, and then like when it goes to nighttime, oh man, are these graphics insane? And does it make me ever want a Splinter Cell game so fucking bad? Looking at the way people can craft worlds now with the lighting technology and the ray tracing with like the flashlight, you're like moving it around and then you'll see it like shine through the trees, and then it'll like stop because your light is hitting a branch here, and then you'll see that like the light stopped because it hit a branch, and then it's like around. It's fucking insane, honestly. So the beginning of the game starts out really slow, and I'm not trying to spoil it. I believe there is definitely a demo for sure. I don't know how far into the game it goes, but you start out, there's like this fat guy that gets like killed, and then there's like a cult group, and then they like steal his heart, and then you're doing kind of like a autopsy on the table in the woods at Cauldron Lake, as you're playing a Saga, the woman, and then you play a Saga for like kind of a while, like a good 3 hours, enough to where I was like, what the fuck? Where's Alan? Like, what the fuck? And then, again, sorry, spoilers, but I'm going to give mild spoilers. Obviously, eventually, I mean, clearly he's in the game. He's the bigger part. So eventually you find him and you rescue him from the bottom of Cauldron Lake. And that's as far as I'll take that part of the story. But so throughout the game, there are not 8 chapters with Alan and 9 with her. There's a certain, and I didn't know this until the end of the game. I played until you unlocked Alan. This is the way I played it. I played until you unlocked Alan. Then you go to like bathroom sections. That's where you save at. There's like a coffee thermos, and then you could do quick save or like a manual save. And then on the floor there's like a spilt thing of water, and then you like hold the X and or A button, and then it like swoops you into the multiverse, and then you play as the other character, right? So it's 2 full campaigns in the game. Both campaigns are about 12 to, let's say, 11 to 14 hours, depending on how much you want to explore and collect shit. So let's call it, I think I spent about 33 or 34 hours with all the DLC and the 2 campaigns, right? So you're getting your fucking money's worth out of this game for sure. As I was saying, I was playing as her, and then I unlocked the Alan part, and I was like, fuck yeah, I just want to play as Alan Wake. I assumed that, and I didn't read it because I'm kind of notorious for that personally. I'll just skip past all the text, and I just switched to Alan. And I just assumed that you switched to him, and then the game was, full Alan Wake from that point on. Because like where I switched in the story, it made sense of like the narrative portion of the story made sense to where it was like, oh well, now I'm just playing as Alan because I just rescued him. Jesus. Such a good game. And then like graphically, like Alan has like long hair now, and then like it just like flows in the wind and stuff, and it looks really good. A lot of the cuts, not all of the cutscenes, but most of them are live action cutscenes, like Quantum Break was with the real people and whatnot. All of the characters are cast really well. They're really top notch actors, and they just did a really good job. And believe it or not, there's a lot of like comedic things that happen in this game where like I was like literally like just laughing my ass off because there's a certain part about halfway through the game. It's an Alan mission. You're on the set of a TV show, and I won't try to give too much spoilers on it because it's actually really funny when it happens. And it's just like once you get to this part, if you play this game, you're gonna really laugh. And like this one part alone was just like so killer. And then the music erupts, and the soundtrack in this game, I don't know where they like got all these soundtracks from, if it's licensed music or if they just like found a random grunge band to make them some music, but like the music in this game is just epic because I have it's a decent sound system. It's a 55-inch Sony TV with I think it's a 3.1 or a 5.1 soundbar, and then I have a good Sony subwoofer hooked up to it. So it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it still booms and bumps a little bit. So, when you're playing the game and it's like spooky shit's happening, you can like hear crackling in the woods and stuff. And I would always play it at nighttime with the lights off just for that extra added atmosphere and shit. It was kind of fun, even though earlier in the video I was like, I hate horror games and horror movies and stuff. But I don't know, for whatever reason, just Alan Wake has always, that first game, getting it with my 360 Slim, just really set like a good memory in my brain of that game. And then like when the second one finally came out, I was pissed originally that it was digital only, and that's why I just poo-pooed it, because I was like, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm not going to support that. And then it came out physical. But so back to the story. Later on, you go into like the subway area with Alan, like probably maybe a little bit after halfway through Alan's campaign. And then at that point, I realized when I like walked into a save point, I was like, wait, it says switch back to Saga. So like, and then I realized it, and then I Googled it, and then I was like, oh fuck, he's got 8 campaign missions, then she's got 9. Then there's also the DLC throughout the game as well. So some of the characters you meet throughout the game, there's a cop, his name's Tim, and he's actually the actor, I forget his name, he's relatively like a high B actor. You'll know him once you see him. He's the guy that did Quantum Break, the main character. He's also in this game. So it's like a weird, but it's not the same guy, and like it's physically the same guy, but it's not the same like name and character in the game. But so he's in the game. You meet him all the time throughout the game, through both campaigns. You're always running into him. He does a really good job. And then he has his own little DLC. So the Night Springs DLC is 3 DLC campaigns. One, you play as Rose, which is one of the main characters you'll meet kind of later in the game. And then she's in the old people's home. And then and then also she's in the diner, if I'm not mistaken. And then you play the Night Springs. You walk up to these giant CRT TVs, and you hold the X button and A button. And then you like get sucked into the TV, and then you're like in their little confined universe. And then you play the second Night Springs one. You actually play as the control girl. I forget her name. And that one was actually pretty fun. So you're playing at like the theme park, the Coffee World theme park, that's like a main proponent to Saga's campaign. And then you're kind of in the little confined area, and you're playing as the control girl. That was pretty fun. And then the Tim, the cop guy, was actually in the Night Springs DLC with the cop girl, or the control girl. And then the third Night Springs DLC, which is you get to at the end of Alan Wake's campaign, you'll find the TV on like the least but last level for Alan Wake's campaign, and then like you can't miss it. Now for me, and if you're following it the way I played it, I would play those DLCs as you approach them. Like, if you see that TV and it says Night Springs on the TV, that's the DLC. That's when they want you to play it, or at least that's just the way I did it, because you walk up to it, it's right there, then you can play it. So then the third one you play as Tim, the cop, who was the Quantum Break guy. His was super fun. I kind of don't even want to spoil it, but like it's video game related. So you like get sucked into like an actual like multiverse video game type thing, and then there's like 3, and then he gets sucked into different TVs, and then like the last one is like a 2D thing where you're like fighting on the screen and shit, and it was a blast. And then so both these come with all the DLCs. So that's the Night Springs expansion. Then the Lake House expansion. This actually pleasantly surprised me. So later in the game, when you're playing on Saga's campaign, you meet up with a FBC, which is Federal Bureau of Control, which is the control people, which is like above the FBI. It's like a fictitious made-up thing that the Remedy people made up, which I believe was also in the Quantum Break game, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know for sure, but definitely in the Control game. Would make sense if that was also in Quantum Break. But so, her name's Estevez, Latino girl, and then she, and again, I don't know because I haven't beaten Control yet, but I believe she was fully like in Control and like maybe was like an integral part in the story. Correct me in the comments for anybody that's played the game. That's what I'm assuming. And then you go into the Lake House, which is a specific FBI place that is in the woods, and it's basically like a mini Resident Evil, is what it felt like to me, because it's a 5-layer building, and then like underground, like cube with like windows all the way around it kind of thing. And then you go in, and there's like an elevator, and then it's on the fritz, and then you have to go to the different floors to get the key cards. Little old school Resident Evil or Doom kind of thing, where you got to get the key card, then you can go here, then you can go here, then you can go here. Then you have to get this special gun. Then you have to, so in this DLC, you're not fighting the Taken, which is like the shadowy people. You're fighting these giant paint creatures. And again, I'm not going to spoil the stories, but that's who you're fighting in that. And then you have to get the special gun that can like fight them. And then it was just a really great DLC. And then as far as the actual story goes, no spoilers on the story. It's really good. I guess what I can say is they kind of left it open to where they could make a third game, right? There was definitely a few, like if you're paying attention to the story, there's a few little subtle hints of like, hey, we'll be back. Or hey, we'll see you soon. Was even like because I love putting subtitles on just so I don't miss anything when like people are talking in the background. There was definitely a subtitle of like, we'll see you soon, and it was on the last mission. So I'm like, Really, dude? Clearly you're making a third Alan Wake, which I'm all for that because, like I said, this was a 10 out of 10 for me. I had so much fun with it. Like, I'm making a dedicated kind of like, I guess, like a light review, you could say. I just had such a blast with this game. So, for what it's worth, Alan Wake has not sold to their liking. I think it sold just around a little under 2 mil copies for PC, Xbox, and PS5. It's a beautiful looking game. You really do get your money's worth out of the game. And then, if you get this new, it'll come with the remaster of the first game too. I don't know if that has American Nightmare on it. But either way, still really good value. Even at $80, you're getting one pretty good sizable DLC that takes about 4 hours to beat. And I couldn't put it down. I wanted to finish that DLC as I was playing it. Then you get the Night Springs DLCs, which are little chunk DLCs. They're like 30, 45 minutes. Still not bad, though, times 3. So you're talking hour and a half to 3 hours, give or take, depending on how much you want to explore. And then the actual campaign is 15 to 20 hours, again, depending on how much you want to explore. And then you got Alan Wake 1, which is roughly about a 15-hour game. So you're talking damn near 40 to 60 hours worth of gameplay for an $80 game. That's like $3 an hour. It's pretty good value for money there. So as far as I think Remedy has earned the right that we should support them. Does it suck that it's not like fully on the disc? Yes, but that's really more of an Xbox and a Sony, or a Microsoft and Sony issue where they don't have the technology. Like Microsoft would just said, fuck it, we're putting out 50 gig discs. We're not, fuck you is pretty much what Microsoft said. And then Sony, 100 gig, they tried at least. Would it be nice if this included Alan Wake physically, and then if all the DLC was like physically, like the Lake House was on the disc? That would be awesome, but it's not, sadly. But regardless, you can, at least on the PlayStation, you can fully put this disc in and play the full campaign, which is awesome. Xbox, not so much. I think you have to download some of it, so that does kind of suck. But, man, I really genuinely want you to support this game and pick it up, even if you get it used, just to play the game and show Alan Wake some love. It really was a phenomenal game. I cannot recommend it enough. I truly had a blast with it. I've been playing the hell out of this since Christmas. Finally beat it. Like, I can say that I beat it. On a side note, I've also been playing Tales of Arise. I am at the last section, the last boss, where there's like 8 mini bosses, then there's like the main boss. And I know it's the main boss because I watched it on YouTube just to watch the ending. Technically, I didn't beat this game. I guess I didn't grind enough at the end of the game, and like at this point, I'm already like 40 or 50 hours deep, and I just want to be done with it. I want to be playing something else at this point in time, and then I did actually finish this. I believe I'm probably going to jump into Ninja Gaiden 2 next, because I want like a palate cleanser, something just gory, bloody, and just killing some people. Not that you don't do that in Alan Wake, because I got this. It's pretty. It's not even that it's gory, but you kill a lot of shit. They really like. It's a good game, like, and graphically, my God, just the level of the foliage when you're outside, and then the way that, like, and I don't know if it's just my TV, because it's not even like, it's an okay TV, but it's not like the greatest TV in the world. It's not OLED or anything, but it is 4K and it has HDR and all that crap. But the black levels of, like, when you're outside, like, it's truly dark, and then like throughout some of the levels it'll be fully, daylight time, then it'll be like sunset time where it's like a little bit dark, then it'll be like fully pitch black, and then like there's times where like you'll see like a memory like pop up where like Casey will be talking to you, but then just the way, like with the technology of 2023, they were able to project him on the screen in certain ways with certain lighting. And then, like, there's a lot of jump scares in the game, and they're just done and crafted so well at the perfect times. And then, like, there is blood and gore in the game, for sure. And it's not, like, overly ridiculous. It's just done just so right. There's a lot of... The one gripe that I would say that I kind of have, and I almost would like them to tone it down, but now that I like to beat a game and stew on it for a day. You know, I won't start another game once I've done like a big game and I finished. I like to stew on it and really just kind of enjoy what I just played. You know, it's like reading a good book. And for people that don't play video games and don't finish the story, you won't understand that. Like people outside of, you know, my subscriber base. But once you, and I don't know, maybe I'm a weirdo who does that, but like I like to enjoy it and then like kind of reminisce on the story and really just, you know, appreciate what I just played, you know. But like, so just the graphics on the game, the sound design, the music in the game, the narration of the game. But like I was saying, the one thing that I wouldn't say I disliked it, but wasn't particularly great for me was the Saga part in her campaign where she's got, and it makes sense. She has the cop tack board where, you know, where you put the tack and then you put the string and then the, you know, with the clues or whatever. But you have to do that all the time, all the fucking time. It takes, you probably spend every bit of a good 2.5 hours throughout the whole game doing that shit. And it's just, to me, it kind of deters from the game. In my humble opinion, they should have had a button where it just auto did it, like an auto button where it just tacks all the shit on the board and you could just be done with it. Or in the next game, they should have it just do it where Saga is doing a cutscene. She's like, okay, Alan was here, and then he went here, and then he picked up the candlestick, and then he went to the billiard room, and then he got, you know, Colonel Mustard and he whacked him on the head. That's how it should have been done, because while it is interactive, and yes, it's a video game, it should be interactive, it really sucked you out of the gameplay to have to sit there, and at least me, to sit there and tack all the shit on the board and do all that shit. It was kind of annoying for me. And then as far as Alan's campaign go, overall pretty good. Obviously, I really enjoyed this game. The one thing that kind of slowed it down for me was when you go to his house in New York and you're like looking for his wife. It was just really slowly paced. And I don't know, maybe they did that to like make it more emotionally connect with you, because that's like your wife and you should really care and you have to like diligently look for her, or I don't know. But it was just very slow and very methodical, walking through the house and doing all this. It just felt very boring, and it just really took me out of the atmosphere of the game. Those two things are just really two things that kind of annoyed me. Now, having beat the game now, I would say that the beginning of the game, it annoyed me when I was first playing it, but now that I finished the game, it really just sets the game up. And then like once you finish it, like I encourage you to not only buy this game, but like beat it and then like stew on the game and the story for a day and just really think about it and just enjoy it, because it's not very often that we get games that are just like so narratively driven and so done so well. I'm just really pleased that there was, I had to say it, that there was no woke crap in here. I assumed there would be. It's been going on and very prevalent in the gaming industry, but there was none of that. It was just a video game. It was just a good video game. And you know what? There was a woman main lead in there. And for game developers, this is a message to you. I don't care. She was written well. It was a great story, right? So like, I don't mind playing as the woman if it's written well and makes sense and is like not unneededly done, you know? Like when they just shoehorn women in and the woke stuff and all that, like it just, I don't need that in my hobby. When I get off work, I want to just play a game and escape from reality, you know? This is, you know, it's my escape to get out of some of the, you know, life problems that I have. I want to just play a game and escape. And I don't want to deal with all that. So like for me, it was really, it was a really sublime experience playing Alan Wake 2. I cannot recommend it enough. If you're a long-time subscriber, you know that I don't really ever do videos like this. That's why I'm recommending it, because it really is a truly fantastic game. Even if you get it for PC, just because you could probably get it real cheap there, maybe like $20 on sale or something like that. Definitely worth it for 20. But even at 80, I'll be honest with you, it's worth it. So be sure to check out Alan Wake 2. I really encourage you to go get it. Seriously. Pick up a copy of Alan Wake 2. You won't regret it, I promise. Peace out for now, guys. Till next time.
Come here, you mother...